This episode is brought to you by CarterComics.com. It's your one-stop shop for all your comic needs, whether it be graded or raw. Carter Comics has got it all. All you gotta do is go to CarterComics.com, fill your card up with all their amazing comics. Use the discount code FREAKNET, FREAKNET. Save you 10% at checkout. Not only on their website, but also at their eBay account. And the link to eBay can be found on their homepage at CarterComics.com. Again, CarterComics.com is your one-stop shop for all comic needs. What's up, everybody? Travis here.
And Cartoon Joe.
And welcome back to another episode of this freaking show. It is the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. And I could probably say weekly podcast, even though we haven't been here since August. Yeah. I got nothing funny to say about that. We've been gone. That's just what it is.
Yeah, life's been busy.
Life has been busy. I don't know what it is about September, but it always seems like September gets like away from like people, just people in general.
Well, everything is starting again. It's school's back in session, fall clubs and things that go dead for the summer. A lot of churches take summer breaks.
Do they really?
Yeah. Not full breaks. I mean, they still have church on Sundays usually, but they'll like their programming and stuff for the summer will go away because people are gone on vacations.
I thought usually summer is where they do like the Bible studies and all that shit.
Yeah, they do like vacation Bible school, but that's about it. Like maybe 2 weeks out of the whole summer.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah. It's not like we planned on not being around. Like, I know we kept planning it, but I don't know. It's like we were talking before we started recording. Like, sometimes you just get burnt out.
Yep.
You know, and I love doing the show. Like, I don't see myself ever stop wanting to do the show. It's just with the whole, like cemetery stuff that we just got done filming at the beginning of September and working on the editing for that and stuff like that. It's just, I guess it's just nice to take like a little semi break and everything from the podcasting stuff, which, I mean, we'll be fine. We'll just hit the ground running on it again. Freaky show starting up in next week. No, week after. So a couple weeks.
Yep.
I think it's like a week from Tuesday's October 1st. So yeah. That's my favorite time of year. We already got all the shows kind of scheduled for what we're going to do. I already have all the notes for all the shows and everything. I think we got the list of books that Freak Joe's going to read and everything. So
nice.
Yeah. So for anyone who thought that we were just being lazy, no, not true at all. No, we were preparing for the future by not really committing to the present. I don't know if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Joe, how you doing though?
I'm all right. Tired.
Right.
Not as tired as you. I slept last night, but I was in bed by like 9 o'clock, which is why I didn't answer your text.
Nah, dude, and I wish I could do it, but I know if I went to bed at 9, there's no way I'd stay asleep. Even going to bed at 4, like I woke up at like 5:45 wide awake.
Wild.
And it's like, and it sucks because I haven't used my CPAP machine in the last few days. Just because I took a vacation day on Friday from work, and I was playing the online Grand Theft Auto game Thursday night, so I went to bed like 12, 1 o'clock. It's like, do I really want to put this machine together and all this shit right now just for 5 hours of sleep? Like, not really. Fuck, I'm just gonna go to bed. And then last night again, like, am I really gonna put this machine together for 3 hours? Like, no, forget it. So I didn't sleep bad though. I mean, I slept pretty well, but obviously this morning when the alarm going off, I'm just like, I'm gonna snooze it because I know I'm not gonna get on with Joe until like 8:15 because coffee is coffee, and he fucking still does it like they do in like medieval times where like they grind it like a pencil sharpener or some goofy shit. And it's like, I got time, fucking like, yeah. So, like,
you know what's really aggravating about that though is that I made my pot of coffee and then I left it up there. And so now I'm at the mercy of my wife to bring it down to me.
Yeah.
Well, God forbid.
I have a cup of coffee that I'm like 80% sure that the creamer in it's expired, so I cannot drink it. And I have no one to bring me a fresh cup. So thanks for rubbing that into my face.
You're welcome.
You and your 9 years of marriage. 9 years, right?
Yeah.
10 years the next year. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
How do you know your creamer is bad? Did you just read the expiration date, or does it smell bad and taste wrong?
It's clumpy.
Oh yeah, that's gross.
But see, here's my thing though, and like, I'm not sure if it's clumpy because maybe the coffee was too hot when I poured the creamer into it, because the creamer's cold. You know, it's inside the fridge, so I'm not quite sure because it didn't come out clumpy, if that makes sense. I tasted it, I smelled it, it wasn't bad. So I don't. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just. And also, like, because like obviously I fucking went on Google because that's what I do. Where it's like, why is my creamer clumpy in my coffee? And obviously one of the things is, it's expired.
Right. Yeah.
Another thing is like the coffee's too hot, curdles the creamer.
Interesting. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Another thing is like the acidity level could cause it to curdle. And I don't know what's going on as far as Keurigs in my household. The coffee always comes out tasting weird. And I don't know if that's maybe just me, like maybe just the coffee tastes weird to me because of a flare up with COVID 3 years ago. That maybe it's like, oh well, maybe I did have COVID, and maybe my taste did change all because of it or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, like the creamer didn't smell bad. It's not all curdle, it's just like small little parts of it. I just fuck it, whatever.
Weird.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's fine. I'm drinking it. It's cool.
Okay, good.
Worst case scenario, what happens? I get sick and I can't go work my wrestling show tonight. It's fine. Yeah. I'm drinking it. I don't care. It's rarely I have coffee, and I want coffee this morning. That's it.
Nice.
That's it. I'm so fucking annoyed with the fact that like like I want something and then something gets in the way. Like potential like fucking. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm not. I refuse to go off onto that fucking tangent in life. I didn't really know what we're gonna talk about today. I don't think we really planned for anything. It's more just like, hey Joe, you free tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Solid clutch. Okay, see you then. And then we always end up into a conversation about something.
Yeah.
I just don't know where we're gonna lead today because I kind of wanted to talk about Statesville. Oh, look at that! See that, folks? That's love right there.
Thanks.
That is love.
Yeah, I know. I missed it.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that happiness.
Big cup of coffee.
What the fuck is that? It's a Stein, isn't it?
Death Wish coffee mug.
Up a little more.
St. Patrick's Day edition.
Up a little more. There we go. Nice.
Yeah.
How many Death Wish coffee mugs do you have?
I have I think. I got this one, and then I have 2 of these guys.
Were they gifted when they were sponsors, or?
No, I bought them.
Did you just thumbs down yourself?
What?
Did you just thumbs down yourself?
I didn't even notice.
There was a little thumbs down bubble that came up on your screen.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was. It was like once you showed the mug, that's when it showed up. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I very briefly, before I was banned from buying new mugs because we have too many already, I thought about becoming they have like yearly cup. So this is the 2017 Death Wish mug. And I was going to become a collector, and then I was told I wasn't allowed to collect mugs, which is fine. I don't need them.
Yeah. What year is that one? Also 2017?
This one wasn't a yearly one. It was a special St. Patrick's one.
Oh.
Don't remember the year.
God, please don't pour coffee on yourself.
Yeah, or my expensive computer.
That is true too. Yeah, or the computer. Yeah, I'm not sure which one would be worse. But also, I don't know how hot that coffee is. So
it's hot. Oh, it doesn't have the year on it either. That's weird. It's number 430 out of 1,000 though, so that's neat.
There we go.
So
I thought about talking about Statesville because I know we kind of mentioned it while we're on our trip that they're shutting the prison down and all that stuff, and
yeah,
I wasn't quite sure if it's like maybe it's just too much time has passed where it's like, what's the point about talking about it anymore?
Right.
But
Yeah. It's closed. Oh, wait. Hold on. Not fully closed yet.
no, it looks
Most
like
men have to be moved out by the end of this month. They got like a week.
September 30th, yes. Federal judge has ordered most men incarcerated there to be moved out by September 30th, citing the dangers posed by buildings that are likely falling apart. People locked up there have long complained of inhuman living conditions, undrinkable water. A state commission study last year found Statesville was in such despair that it was nearly inoperable. At the same time, its proximity to Chicago means it had some of the richest educational and cultural programming in the state prison system. But the judge's order has meant abrupt transfers for the men incarcerated there, throwing the future of the intellectual community into question as the state seeks to build a new prison on the site in the coming years. WBEZ and Open Campus asked men currently and formerly incarcerated at Statesville for their thoughts on closures. Below are excerpts from their emails or from interviews, which have been edited for clarity and brevity. James Lenore. Once I got on the bus and found out I was going to Statesville, I was happy because I knew I had potential to educate myself and also work better on my case than I could in Menard Prison, which I think is like Southern Illinois or in Indiana, Illinois.
Pretty sure Southern Illinois, yeah.
So yeah, certain things worked out good, but under the conditions I had to live through, I'm forever traumatized. Like I need to drink bottled water. I like filtered water. I have to see it. It's things that you shouldn't you shouldn't have to go through, that you go through that I wouldn't want nobody else to go through. I risked me dying in Statesville to get out of prison. James Soto, 62 years old. I came there in December of 1982. I went to D House, and I remember going to 3 Gallery and into a cell that had this gray peeling paint on the wall. I looked at the sink, and I noticed that it had a brown rust stain there, and I thought, well, maybe over the years it just happened to build up. But I was soon learned that the water itself comes out rusty brown. The heater worked on and off, so there would be nights that I'd be cold in there. And I remember walking on the gallery and noticing that the gallery kind of leaned outwards. The weight of the building was literally falling and causing these steel bars to bend.
Man, there were times when I thought that the walls didn't look straight, and I just never gave it a second thought.
Yeah. Well, so you were there doing, I don't want to call it ministry. What was it you were in there doing?
I was part of my seminary had a class, one of the education programs, at the prison, and so I was classmates with a bunch of these guys. I think James Soto, who you just read, was in one of my classes.
What do you mean class? Like you were taking the class along with them, or you?
Yeah, like we were taking theology together or whatever.
How does that happen?
Just
explain how the program works. Because I thought you were there educating, but you were actually there taking.
No, I was being educated.
So you went to jail as a I don't know, Dude. A civilian, I guess, or whatever, just to take a class with prisoners.
Yep.
Did you know that when you signed up for it?
Yeah. Oh. That's why I signed up for it. I was curious about it. I was like, I got to know about this. This seems interesting.
Yeah. Now, what was that classroom? What was it?
Yeah, they got like they have a whole block of the prison that is classrooms. Yeah. You got to like come in through the maximum security entrance, and there's the entrance building where they like check your shoes, make sure you're not smuggling anything in. If you have a backpack, it's got to be like clear plastic so they can look into it. All this stuff. Once you get through that building, you have to go outside and then into another building that looks like it looks like a high school. I swear to God, from the front, like the facade of the building looks like a high school. And and you go in, and you have to wait for them to. We would like line up, and there would be like a bar, like a gate door that they'd let us through. That was always the longest wait. We'd have to wait there for. Sometimes it'd be right away. Sometimes we'd walk right through. One time I think we actually waited about 15 minutes, and then the prison went on lockdown, and we had to leave. And so they let us out because we weren't technically all the way in yet. Yeah. And then we'd walk through, and there's this whole maze of things, and we get to this bank of classrooms, and they're just cement rooms with a blackboard on the wall. No doors.
So what could you bring in and what couldn't you bring in? I don't see like you guys. In my mind, I imagine you either like you have to have a computer to type in because you can't have any pens or pencils or sharp points. So it's either computers or like felt markers.
No, we were allowed a pen or pencil. There were, I can't remember what the rules were anymore, but there were like specific rules about what kind of pen or pencil you could bring.
Gotcha.
And then they also, we actually am pretty sure we could not bring computers in. We were not allowed to do that. And because you can hide stuff inside the case of the computer.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. What else? I think as long as it was in the like clear prison approved backpack, there was a lot of stuff you could bring in. But I never got that backpack. I would just come in usually with a notebook and a pencil. And that would be it. I think the majority of my classmates did too.
How many people were in the class, and how many of them were students, and how many were incarcerated?
I think there were between 30 and 40 of us, and it was about half and half.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because we'd like just by happenstance, the way we ended up sitting in the room, it would almost be like insider, outsider, insider, outsider. You know.
Okay, so they kind of meshed you all together.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
There were warnings to like the women, like, hey, there were much stronger restrictions for women than there were for men. Like they weren't allowed. We weren't really supposed to wear rings or earrings or stuff, especially if it had sharp edges. And those dudes are charming. I can't. They are very charming people, and they are starved for female attention because it's all men. It's a men's prison. And so the women were warned, like, hey, they're probably going to try to hit on you, and you got to figure out how to tell them absolutely not, or how to get help, or like just be aware of it because it's happening.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff.
I got you. Cool. Alan Vega, 40 years old. I have been in prison for nearly 25 years. I have practically grown up here. Within those 25 years, I have developed some great relationships with people who have been a father figure to me, brother, uncle, friend, in essence, a family. I won't miss the structure of this place, but I know I will miss the great people I had the opportunity to grow up with. Great people who challenged my old ways of thinking, helped me grow, and taught me a different way of life, and kept me safe. My fellow incarcerated people, my teachers, volunteers, and yes, even the correctional staff that treated me humanely, with dignity and respect. Even the ones who didn't, I thank you because you taught me self-restraint and how to forgive. I wish the closure process could be done differently instead of rushing it, because when things are rushed, mistakes can happen. Perhaps this is an opportunity for Governor Pritzker to make a historical change to end mass incarceration and do the right thing in bringing back parole and granting clemency to those men and women who have truly changed their lives. I thought parole was a thing.
I have no idea. Yeah. I know usually if you go to Statesville, you are probably a lifer.
Yeah, well,
So
okay.
maybe like some people can get parole if they're not lifers, you know.
Is the execution state still there?
I don't know.
In 1977, capital punishment was reinstated in Illinois. In 1983, the state adopted lethal injection as the default method of execution in Illinois. But the electric chair remained operational to replace lethal injection if needed. 11 executions were carried out by lethal injection at Statesville between 90 and 98. In 98, the site's execution was moved 305 miles southwest to the Tams Correctional Center in Tams, Illinois. Okay. In 2011, Pat Quinn signed legislation ending capital punishment in the state of Illinois. Okay. Current use of prison averages 3,500 with an annual cost of $32,000 per prisoner. Statesville, 1,300 employees, make it a level 1 facility, the highest of 8 security levels designations. There's also a minimum security unit commonly referred to as Statesville Farm, which is a level 7 facility located within the new Northern Reception Center located south of the main facility. The Northern Reception Center accepts incoming prisoners from the county jails in the northern 2/3 of the state. Statesville is located 2 miles north of Joliet and Crest Hill. 64 acres, surrounded by a 33-foot concrete perimeter, 10 wall towers. Statesville is often confused with the former Joliet Correctional Center, which closed in 2002, located in nearby city of Joliet. Former Joliet Prison is much older and smaller, located 2.5 miles southeast of Statesville. Okay.
Oh yeah. So here I found there is a paroleillinois.org that is advocating to bring back parole. Apparently, from what I'm seeing here, they ended parole in Illinois in 1978.
Really?
But there's also, the thing is though, is I also Googled and I found there is like a parole board as part of the Department of Corrections in Illinois. So I'm not sure what's up.
Okay. Huh. That's interesting. Flanard Miller, 43 years old. The conditions here at Statesville are horrible. There is no ventilation system in the cell houses. The bricks on the outside of the building have deep cracks in them, starting from the ceiling all the way down to the foundation. The stairs in E House appear to be on the verge of collapse. The outer bars of the cell houses are bulging outwards from the pressure of the ceiling caving. I believe it's great that they are finally shutting Statesville down. One of the main reasons is that it is unsafe here for staff and inmates alike. I also think it would be a huge loss to community. Most of these guys have been around each other for 15 to 30 years. The Islamic community is at a big loss because the brotherhood that they have built. There is a petition started for the Muslims in Statesville to be sent to Sheridan because it's closer so we can finish building our Islamic community. There's a petition started for all Muslims in Statesville to be sent to Sheridan. Okay. Yeah, I read that right.
Yeah, I know that was one of the things the teacher who I'm friends with on Facebook that I had for that class, and she was the head of the School of Restorative Arts at North Park, which is like the specific program that runs it. She was saying that there was a petition to try and get like groups of communities sent together because they from what I understand, they basically, because it's such a rush process, they kind of just like divvied people up and sent them wherever.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer, but also, it's tough, right? Like, of course, we're not going to have policies that keep friend groups together from prison. It's like you're not there to make friends.
Yeah.
From the perspective of the people doing this. But.
No, it was like the guy said, like, when you rush things, you make mistakes. I can understand, like groups, wanting to be together and stuff like that. But I don't know where everyone's going. I'm sure if I deep dive into the internet far enough, I can figure out, which prisons are going, because over 4,000 prisoners need to go somewhere,
Right.
So, and I'm assuming they're not all going to be still in state. They're probably going to be sent off, other places. So, and maybe it's only like a select number. I don't know how many, members are in this Islamic community in the prison, but if there's like 45 of them and 38 of them the only one place is taking 38, it sucks, but it's like you can't overpopulate another prison just by sending more people over there so they can all kind of be together, I didn't get to pick my. Ooh.
Start a cascading series of lawsuits that ends the prison industrial complex.
Stanley Howard, 61.
This guy looks
Um,
familiar to me. I don't think I know him because it doesn't say that he was part of one of the school programs, but
Stanley
his
Howard.
name is really familiar to me. Yeah.
Stanley Howard said he was tortured by Chicago police into confessing to a murder he didn't commit. He spent 39 years in prison, was later pardoned for that crime. I was participating in this program with the University of Chicago, and the topic changed to the closing of Statesville. And this one young lady said, well, if they're closing Statesville down to build a new state of the art prison, wouldn't you want them to be inside of the state of the art prison instead of this rundown facility that they have? And my answer to that was there's no such thing as a state of an art doghouse because the doghouse is still a doghouse. Why not spend the money going forward instead of backwards? Give a prison a chance to not being able to go to prison in the first place. I'm sorry. Give a person a chance of not being able to go to prison in the first place instead of always being punitive on the back end. I'm not quite. So is he saying like use the money for the community to prevent people from? Okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah, because like a lot of I know I keep being struck by how much Stateville looked like my high school from the outside, and it's just like there's a reason for that. It's not just because that was the architecture style at the time. I don't think. I think part of it is there's a whole philosophical mindset that's sort of rooted in what rich people think human beings are like. And so, you may have heard of the school to prison pipeline. There are a lot of schools that have policies and ideas and ideals that make it harder for people to not end up incarcerated. If you have, there are, like black kids, for example, are often punished a lot more harshly than white kids. And so you might have a school resource officer that has no problem taking like a third grader and putting him on his ass. And then next thing you know, the kid's kicked out of school, and then it takes him a year to get back into school, and now he's 2 years behind his peers. And next thing you know, like why would he care about finishing school? What does it matter? I'm going to try and go get some work, and but they won't hire me because I got this record from my high school. I'm just going to steal or murder or whatever else. And it's just like that's not good.
Yeah. No, it's
and
like
if we just resourced people appropriately, hopefully we'd create a better outcome.
yeah.
So, and part of the problem too is like I don't know. I don't think Stateville is a private prison, but like you have private prisons in some states that will actually sue the state if they aren't arresting enough people and sending them to prison.
When you say private, you mean like funded by corporations, not the state, right? Okay.
Correct. Yeah, privately owned.
Gotcha.
As opposed to a public prison.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, the prison system's wild, and it's for that. I mean, that's one of the fucking reasons too. Is like you got companies, corporations who are funding, prisons and shit like that. Yeah.
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 Well, it's super lucrative when you think about the 13th Amendment has that line in it. It abolished slavery except as punishment for a crime. And, so frankly, like being able to rent your slaves out is an extremely lucrative business model because labor is one of the highest costs of production. And so if you can just cut the cost of labor to food and housing, like you make a lot of money.
It was what the fuck did I hear a couple weeks ago? There was that speculation going around that I know nothing about Harris's career, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not agreeing with it being true or not or whatever. But like, there was an article out there that said like she kept people in prison for the labor.
Yeah, with the was it? I was reading about this, but I can't remember it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's California, right? Because she was attorney in California.
Yeah, she was the AG in California.
So are prisoners being used outside of prisons for like labor purposes?
Oh yeah,
Because I
in
thought
California they're used a lot for fighting fires. And what's crazy to me is like, you can't be a firefighter in the state of California with a felony record. And so a lot of these guys, they fight fires while they're in prison, and then they get out and they can't be a firefighter, even though they have all this experience fighting fires, which is just nuts to me. But yeah, there's like when one of the things that I wish was a bigger scandal when Clinton was president. Really before that, when he was governor of Arkansas, like there's a whole group of prisoners from Arkansas who upkeep the governor's mansion.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, the prison leases them to the state to do that, to upkeep the mansion. There's a Angola prison in Louisiana is notorious for renting their prisoners out to farmers.
Really?
You know, yeah, there are people who are in prison in Angola, and like Angola used to be a plantation. So there are people who are picking cotton in the same fields their great grandparents were picking cotton in, who are effectively enslaved just like their great grandparents. It's fucked up.
But it's not. It doesn't resemble like Statesville though. It's like this is like one of those like lower level prisons kind of things you're talking about.
I'm not sure. Angola.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the highest security prison, but it's not the lowest either.
Well, I mean, like, so have you ever seen the movie? I think it's called Life, as Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy in it.
Mm-mm.
So it's based in, I want to say.
Oh, it is maximum security. Interesting. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, just Louisiana State Prison. I can't remember what it was based in. It was either like late 1800s or really early 1900s. But it was basically like, they are accused of a crime. They're two black men. I think they're in New Orleans. I haven't seen the movie in a while, but I know it's on some streaming app, and I'm probably gonna watch it probably tomorrow. Now that I'm thinking about it, because it is a great movie. But it's Martin Lawrence goes out like on a night out of town. I think he's with his fiance or girlfriend, and they're just enjoying a night out, and he likes more of the kind of like the proper life, like just enjoys like getting dressed up, going out and having drinks, and like just being involved, with society. But obviously, with the time that it's based in, black people and white people still aren't comfortable meshing. That's why I want to think maybe. I want to say maybe it's like, I know there's vehicles, I know there's cars, so I don't know, early 1900s, whatever the hell it is.
Gotcha.
And then there's Eddie Murphy, which I think he's kind of like a pickpocketer, kind of a hustler,
small time thief.
Yeah. Anyway, somebody gets shot, and because they're in the vicinity of it, they get accused of it. They're sent to life, and they go to a plantation, something similar like what we were talking about here, and they live in bunkhouses. There's no big ass walls and shit like that. It was, if you run out there, the dogs will get you or they'll shoot you and shit like that. I mean, are places like that still around today? Like, are there prisons where there isn't any fences, there's no gates, it's open field, but if you go running and they see you, they'll chase you down. That's what I think of when you're talking about the Angola prison and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
Wait, what the hell did they even call it? Yeah, I don't even have that up anymore. Life of Us here. Let's see if it says what year this was. So in 1997, a Mississippi State Penitentiary elderly convicted Willie Long tells a story. New Yorkers from different worlds meet in a club in 1932. So. Okay, so yeah, if you haven't seen it, great. It's a great movie. I recommend watching it.
Yeah, I feel like I've been seeing clips of it on YouTube Shorts or whatever.
Yeah, if this is right, it's on Netflix, and I think that is right. It is a really good movie, and it's funny, and the ending's really cool too. So it's nice. Just an overall good movie. You ever get a chance to watch it. I kind of want to read. I want to make sure everyone's voice gets heard. So how much time do we have? Oh, we got time. Cool. Yeah. Because I don't want to just read some of these. I want to read everyone so everyone kind of gets a feel how all these guys are feeling.
Yeah.
Bernard McKinley, 39. I was in the first ever created Statesville debate team. Nice. I also was in a DePaul College course. I was in a couple of prison plus neighborhood art/education project courses, as well as I enrolled in the Northwestern Prison Education Program. I commend anyone that's trying to better themselves and pursue higher education, but at what cost? Are you willing to jeopardize your health or even your life for education? Which, is crazy to say because I love my education. At the same time, I love myself more, and without myself, I can't have an education. True. Bernard McKinley is in his first year at Northwestern University Pritzker School of Law. Good for him. That's awesome. Daryl Fair. Daryl Fair is a graduate of Northwestern Illinois and a current master's student at North Park Theological Seminary. Daryl Fair 56. This closure represents the beginning of the end for most of these programs. Statesville allowed us the space to learn and grow, and I fear that our new host site might not be as welcoming. Will they welcome our new community? Will they place and see value in us as our Statesville facilitators did? Will our long-term community be delegated as non-priority essentials? Here at Statesville, these learning institutions have helped repair communal and family relationships. What will become of those bonds? Will we stand and be able to teach and learn of not weaponizing higher learning to rise above others, but rather to lower yourself meeting people where they're at?
Nice.
Jamal Picard or Baker.
Yeah, I think Baker.
Is it Baker? Jamal Baker, 40. I am concerned that the dispersing of academic programs to various facilities that may also be. So these programs are just designated as Statesville?
Yeah, they've got a specific
curriculum
deal with Stateville.
Gotcha.
To be able to come in and do stuff. And you got to do all these security clearances and all of this stuff to be able to, even as a student, to be able to go there. It's much more stringent to actually set up a school program within it.
Gotcha. I am concerned that the dispersing of academic programs to various facilities that may also be in states of disrepair can make these prisons appear viable and therefore less prone to future closures for the sake of access to academic programming. Who is to say that displacing these programs won't jeopardize their abilities to commit long term? Yet I am optimistic that this dispersion of truly transformed and educated people will cause waves of positive cultural changes across the receiving facilities, further evidencing the need to robust programming access.
Yeah.
Evidencing. I don't know if I've ever heard that. William Peoples. We are not a monolith. I don't know what was that.
A monolith, like a singular stone object.
So I can speak for all or even most incarcerated humans who are currently enrolled in educational programs. However, I will say this. Many of us just don't want to die from poisoned water, or from inhaling mold spores, or from cancer due to the unhealthy environment we are forced to live in while trying to improve ourselves and gain an education from an elite college or university. Lauren Frost is the lead producer of Prison Cast. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're gonna know better than me on the conditions of their prisons, but I haven't heard good things about Statesville ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a prison. I wasn't expecting anything.
Oh no, I'm thinking Joliet. I think in Joliet Prison. I've heard good things about Joliet Prison, but only like fourth hand,
Mm-hmm.
So, because Grandpa had a friend who liked to be arrested and sent to Joliet. So,
yeah,
because it was the only place he ever lived that had any stability. Three hots and a cot. He was happy. That's all he needed out of life.
I hear people doing that shit all the time, like just committing a small crime just have a place to stay, and it's unfortunate that that's an actual thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember like one of the sermons I heard as a kid that really stuck with me had a story about, it really was just the story that stuck with me, but there was a girl who basically kept getting in trouble and having to do detention, who was like otherwise a really good student. And so they were like, why do you keep getting in trouble and getting yourself in detention? She's like, heat and light.
Mm-hmm.
Like at home, our utilities are shut off. It's cold.
Yeah.
If I want to get my homework done, if I want to be in relative comfort, I want to be here after school every day. And I think, of course the story ends with her, getting permission to just stay without having to do detention. But it's nuts.
Yeah. Well, that's why after school programs are important.
Absolutely.
Let's see. In the 1940s through 60s, the U.S. Army tested malaria vaccines on the prisoners, who in return received good time considerations.
Oh, nice.
A photograph of the interior of the F house is used to demonstrate the concept of the Panopticon in some editions of Michael Foucault's Discipline and Punish. MSNBC created a documentary called Statesville Correctional Center Investigates Lockup. Prison riot footage and scenes of a prison warden rushing down a hallway and a herd of reporters in 1994 Natural Born Killers were filmed in vacant buildings at Statesville while most of the prison was still in use housing inmates. Actual inmates played extras during the riot scene with rubber knives and guns. After 3 weeks of shooting, the inmates caused an actual riot, and the remainder of the film was filmed elsewhere. The Roundhouse was featured in the main scenes.
Nice.
Characters on the ABC soap opera All My Children, One Life to Live, and General Hospital, and the CBS soap As the World Turns are occasionally sent to a fictional version of Statesville called Statesville to serve prison time. Similarly, in a fictional TV and movie universe, The Police Squad, characters are regularly sentenced to Statesville Prison. Statesville F House is featured prominently in Call Northside 777 as the location where Frank Wieck is held. The F House also appears in Bad Boys. The fictional alleged assassin of George W. Bush in the dramatic mockumentary Death of a President is incarcerated in Statesville Correctional Center. Let's see. John Wayne Gacy was murdered there. We're going to talk about him in October. God, who else is any notable people I would know of? Michael Alfonso. He's featured in American Most Wanted. I Almost Got Away with It in Unsolved Mysteries. He was a 10 Most Wanted guy. He was convicted. Basil Banghart, convicted of the hoax kidnapping John Factors for 20 years for being declared innocent and freed. Floyd Cummins for 12 years of murder and later became noted professional boxer tied to a fight for Joe Frazier. Perpetrator of the Browns Chicken Massacre, James Dorosky and Juan Luna. James File sentenced 50 years for the attempted murder of 2 policemen, originally at Statesville, before being transferred to Danville Correctional Center. Later made false claims of being involved in the assassination of JFK. Jordan Hill, one of the 4 participants in the 2017 Chicago torture incident of a mentally disabled man who was captured on Facebook Live. I remember that.
What was that?
Wow. One of the 4 participants in the 2017 Chicago torture incident of a mentally disabled man that was captured on Facebook. He was, this is one of 4. I think I know they're saying man, but I think it was also a kid. But basically, they lured him into a house, and then on Facebook Live, they were like, well, they were torturing him. So, yeah. So December 2016, the victim, an 18-year-old mentally disabled male, was dropped off by his parents at the McDonald's in Streamwood, Illinois, where the victims wanted to meet Jordan Hill. One of the perpetrators. The victim knew Hill before the incident, as the two had attended the same school in Aurora. Considered him a friend. In January 2017, the victim's parents filed a report that he was missing. According to the police report, Hill had a stolen van which he passed off as his own when he picked up the victim on December 31st. Hill had the victim sleep in the van while he spent 3 nights visiting friends on the west side of Chicago. On January 3rd, Hill and Cooper drove the victim to the apartment of sister Brittany and Tanisha Covington, where the four tied and tortured the victim for hours. Brittany, the younger of the two, began a Facebook live stream broadcasting the attackers laughing as they bound, gagged, beat, and taunted the victim, cut out parts of his scalp with a knife, made him kiss the floor, forced him to drink from the toilet, made him scream, F white people, F Trump. One of the perpetrators contacted the victim's mother, demanded $300 for his return. Facebook Live captured only 28 minutes of what the hour-long attack. But so they got caught. Yeah. If you're gonna fucking kidnap somebody and torture them, don't put it on Facebook Live.
Yeah, no kidding. Stop filming your crimes, you dummies.
Right, Jesus. William Herons, convicted of 3 murders in 1946. Oh wait, hold on a second. What did So Hill got 8 years in prison, Cooper got 7, Tanisha got 3, and Brittany got 4 years probation and community service. But I think he was the only guy, so obviously he's at Statesville. I don't know where the other ones are at.
Yeah.
There 12 years of murder, later noted. 50 years after murder, Facebook. There we go. William Herons, convicted of 3 murders in 46, referred to the media as the lipstick killer, transferred to Vienna Correctional Facility in 75 and later Dixon. Larry Hoover, founder of the Gangster Disciples Street Gang, transferred to ADX Florence in 97. Mose Jefferson, convicted of robbery and served 9 months in 1967, later became the field lieutenant in the Illinois Democratic Party, and in 2009 was convicted of bribery in New Orleans. Nathan Leopold, transferred from Joliet, half of the infamous 1924 Leopold and Loeb case, found in Statesville correspondence with Richard Loeb. I can't remember these folks. Richard Loeb. I want to say I read about Leopold and Loeb. Sound familiar? I think it was from a podcast. Were 2 American students at the University of Chicago who kidnapped and murdered 14-year-old Bobby Frank in Chicago in 1924. He committed the murder characterized at times crime of the century, hoping to demonstrate superior intellect. Oh yeah. So these guys were so smart they thought they could get away with murder. Okay, I do remember hearing about that.
Classic. Yeah.
Because I don't know what they did in school, but basically they're like they could commit the perfect crime, and they clearly did not. Par Madrowski, convicted first-degree murder of Dean Fawcett. Richard Speck, convicted of murdering 8 women. Edward Spritzer, convicted of his participation in the murder of an estimated 18 women at the hands of a satanic cult known as the Chicago Ripper Crew. He was formally given the death penalty in 1986. George Ryan granted him clemency in 2003. After 17 years on death row, his sentence was reduced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. So that dude's like in there still.
Dang.
Now see, it's guys like that. It's like, where do they go? I mean,
yeah, I don't know. You gotta figure that out.
Like which prison wants Edward Spritzer, a guy who was part of Chicago Ripper Crew, who apparently killed 18 women.
Yeah, right.
Roger Toohey, mob boss and bootlegger. Amos Yee, Singaporean blogger in prison for child pornography charges. Corey Gregory, one of the murderers of Adrian Reynolds. Okay, well, I didn't think we could do it, but we definitely talked about Statesville.
Yeah, nice.
So transporting people out, tearing it down, I guess rebuilding it,
bringing people back. I actually don't know if they'll bring people back.
I mean, I think they should.
Yeah.
I mean,
why not?
And the thing too, it's weird that they're saying that they're temporarily closing it. Like they're not temporarily closing it. They're shutting that shit down, tearing it down, and it's not like they're remodeling it. They're rebuilding it as they fucking should.
Yeah.
So now, why is it called Statesville?
I don't know. I have to get into that some other time.
Joe, what are you freaking thinking about?
What am I freaking thinking about? Probably I've been making my way back through Archer.
Well, there you
That
go.
animated spy show. Good stuff. What about you? What are you freaking thinking about?
I am also rewatching shows. I've been watching a lot of Netflix lately. Actually, I've been watching a lot of Peacock too. Heels is a old Stars show that basically it's about professional wrestling, independent wrestling, and stuff. That they finally moved it over to Netflix, and depending on how good that's because there's only 2 seasons. It's 16 episodes, 8 episodes a season. Depending on the rewatch and how many people actually watch them, which I wish there was a way. I don't know if there's a way I can actually look and see how many people are actually watching it. But if it does well, then they might reboot the show. And I hope to God they do, because season 2 ended with the main character. I can't remember. I can't remember his name. Amel played
Stephen
Arrow.
Amell? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Spade.
There you go. Yeah. The season ended with him not being able to feel his legs at the end of the match. So I really want to know what happens from that point. So I hope they reboot it, because it's awesome. When you love something and they can make a show about it, it's like, God, I really want to see more. I hate the fact there's only 8 episode seasons. I hate the fact there's only 2 seasons, but I mean, people still raved around it. People wanted season 3 and stuff. So hopefully they do.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
think it's pretty cool. So yeah.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Hey Joe.
Yeah.
Every week, our listeners catch Cartoon Joe here on this freaking show. But, well, sometimes an hour of Cartoon Joe just isn't enough for our listeners. So every week. So if our listeners need more Cartoon Joe, where can they go?
If you need more Cartoon Joe, you can find me over the Geekcast Live podcast at violentpress.com. You can also find us on Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, and Twitter by searching Geekcast Live.
Awesome. Guys, make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, just by searching This Freaking Show. And continue to listen to us wherever you pick up your podcasts, whether it be Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, whatever. If you search it, search This Freaking Show, we'll pop up. If you want to watch the podcast, you can do so over at the Freaknet Studios YouTube channel. That's where you'll check out our cemetery vlogs coming in October, because in less than, 10 days from now, This Freaky Show comes back.
That's right.
So Joe's here for another week until he takes a break and the Freak Joe returns. So I've been thinking about getting decorations, but I'm not quite sure yet.
Nice.
I don't know.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Right? It's like, I don't know. Well, I'll figure it. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing in my life. Who knows? Guys, that's all I got. As always, I am Travesty.
And I'm Cartoon Joe.
And thank you for listening to another episode of This Freaking Show. I'm out.